Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, wherever in the world you may be joining us from today. My name is Francesco Del Carpio, and I am the CFAL York Operations Coordinator. I would like to officially open the 15th session of our VR XR Training and Education Knowledge and Experience Sharing Speaker Series, presented in collaboration with the DexR Lab at York University. I'll begin today's session with a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge and recognize that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships with the territory upon which our campuses are located that precede the establishment of York University. The area is known as Tkaronto and has been caretaken by the Anishinaabe Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat. It is now home to many First Nation, Inuit, and Métis communities. We acknowledge the current treaty holders, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. The territory is subject to the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement to peaceably share and care for the Great Lakes region. As this is an online event and our participants may be joining from various locations, I strongly encourage you to learn about the traditional land upon which you're located. With this, I welcome our moderator, our speakers, and our participants from around the world. Welcome to our webinar. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our moderator, Dr. Ahmed Mohammadi. Dr. Ahmed Mohammadi is a postdoctoral fellow in the Department of Civil Engineering at York University in Toronto, Ontario, where he received his PhD in transportation engineering. His research focuses on applications of virtual reality in transportation safety, traffic conflict analysis, and traffic microsimulation modeling. His research contributes to improving transportation safety and efficiency. Ahmed is also the coordinator, of Disaster and Emergency Extended Virtual Reality, or DexR Laboratory at York University. Dr. Mohammadi, thank you very much for your ongoing support in this series and for moderating today's session. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Francesco. Welcome back, everyone, to another speaker session. So today we are hosting two speakers who are Maaz, Mohamed, and Rakesh Ravindran from Meynikara XR Technologies. And then they will share their experiences about an interesting topic, which is spatial computing. I would like to introduce two speakers first, very shortly. Maaz Mohamed is heading global sales at Meynikara. Meynikara is a company based in India. Their business is to provide solutions in augmented reality and virtual reality for more than 10 years. They have established their presence in Canada since the start of last year, 2023, basically. And he is also leading the partnerships in Canada. He has prior experiences providing business analyst solutions across diverse industries. His deep understanding of different business sectors enabled him to analyze complex problems, streamline processes, and ensure the high quality standards to any organization seeking to optimize operations and achieve unparalleled excellence. Maaz is a volunteer with Seek Discomfort, an online group. He assists people to take cold plunges at Toronto Beach, which has huge mental health benefit. I would like also introduce Rakesh. Rakesh is a VP and global head and strategy spearheading the growth and strategic direction of Meynikara, overseeing go-to-market initiative, strategic planning, business development, growth, strategic and commercial strategies. He is a seasoned GTM strategist specializing in product management and business development for emerging technologies. Over the years, he has spearheaded game-changing initiatives driving the success of the entrepreneurship in residence program, focusing on AI, IoT, AR, and VR, and drones. His forte lies in architecting comprehensive go-to-market strategies and fostering robust partner relationships, enable him and his company across IT, telecom, technology, gaming, and industrial automation domain to expand their global footprint across the world. Thank you very much. With that aside, I would like to say. Maaz and Rakesh, here you are.
Thank you so much, Ahmed, for the pleasant introduction, especially talking about cold plunge at the end. So I see you have a good background in water. So I see that, and then I was thinking, is it cold over there or is it hot over there? I think it's San Francisco background, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope to do a cold plunge there too during winters. I'm sharing my screen right now. Just let me know if you're not able to see that. Right? I can start with the presentation. Okay, perfect, perfect. Yeah. Okay. So today's session is about exploring XR, which is extended realities and spatial computing technologies for Industry 4.0, right? So me and Rakesh, we have been involved with Meynikara and specializing in this XR technology side, where the world is moving towards 3D internet, right? So now we are connecting with the internet world in 3D, right? So that is where we are seeing that the future of computer is going. right? So the presentation is done by Rakesh. He's followed, like I'll start with the presentation and will be followed by Rakesh. Right? A brief introduction about Meynikara, right? What it is and who we are. right? Let me, yes, yeah, here it is. So if you see, right, so what we are doing is like we are an extended reality technology studio. So our office, we have business consultants and programmers in our studio where we understand different businesses and automate them in the using this technology. So we are seeing that the physical and digital space, right? So they are now connecting with this new models of technology, and this is where we are developing on different industries. right? So if you see, right, so what is this metaverse? What is this XR technology or spatial computing? You might be hearing all these different terminologies, especially, right? So now, right, so if you see around 2022, PwC has done a study where they have seen that 67% of the industries are now engaged in metaverse. So if you see, for example, in financial industry, Bank of America has brought in their skill-based trainings in VR. Right? In financial, my experience was in financial industry, so I started with that. And as you go to different industries, we are seeing that the adoption is increasing. Right? So currently, the expectation is 44% of the entire industry will get into metaverse, and it will become business as usual for everyone by 2024 to 2026. right? So we are seeing great massive adoption in enterprises. And as you see, right, what is this immersive horizons? What is this powering industry 4.0? right? So we are seeing different industries. So they have adopted this digital technology. They have connected to the industries. They have connected to the space. Right? Now we are able to see all different metrics in a 2D screen. Right? So this is where we are bringing in this new VR technology, where we are seeing that the world can actually enter into this 3D world where, for example, if you see on the left side, right, so it starts with industrial safety risk. We have seen that DHL has deployed this virtual reality, and we have seen that the results have showed 100% reduction in lost time. The main reason is it's a simulative technology. So the moment you wear a VR device in your face, you're actually entering into this 3D world. It is teleporting to a digital world, and you are able to interact immersively and then work on it accordingly. Right. So what is happening, right? If you see in industrial employee training and onboarding, a moment any employee comes to any organization, the first and foremost important thing is employee training. Right? As soon as they are in, how is the employee training currently being done? If you see that employee training are being done through e-learnings or through theoretical learnings, or an instructor is coming to the office and then they are giving them trainings, right? So what is this technology helping them, right? So we are seeing that virtual reality technology is actually optimizing this employee training by building an immersive interactive digital twin of an industry, and you can actually interact with those different components inside that. Let's take an example of safety training, fire safety training. So when you are doing a fire safety training using this technology, what is happening is you're actually a real life fire can be simulated in it. Once a real life fire is simulated, A person is an employee on first day, they are being asked to go to a specific location to take the fire extinguisher, come back to that fireplace, and then put off the fire. Right? So likewise, there are different activities which is happening, which we are just learning through e-learnings. Right? So these things are being simulated in this virtual reality technology. Right? And as you see in Ford has used this virtual reality training tool for the technicians to build industrial diagnostics and for the maintenance service. Right? So what we are seeing on this side of the industry is on the manufacturing side, they are building a VR model, a 3D model inside a VR device, and they are sending along with the machines. So for example, in future, if there are some issues happening, right, they don't have to go and then they don't have to bring in a remote expert, right, from the manufacturer's place to their location and ask them to troubleshoot and work on it. So since this digital machine is actually inside the VR device, you can wear a VR device, you can bring in a remote expert inside this metaverse, and you can have a conversation with them like what might be the possible issues which has happened in the engine or a machine. Right? So in that way, you are able to diagnose any problems and also fix it in real time. Right? So as the slides keep going on, Rakesh will also showcase on different experiences on different case studies we have done. So I'll talk about where the technology is going in future. Right? So if you see, there are two major areas where we are seeing this metaverse use cases can be seen. Right? So if you see, one is on the industrial digital twin. As I was telling you in my previous slide, right? So a VR device is being sent to different locations where they are creating this digital twins and then they are sending it. So if you see over here, right, on the left slide, so there are machineries, right? So all these machineries, you can actually diagnose this in a 3D world. Right? And also if you see on the space exploration part and the experiences part, so currently we are seeing a rising activities happening in space. If you see Elon Musk, he's sending satellites to space especially to connect internet. If you see Jeff Bezos, he has moved to Blue Origin as CEO, where his main goal is to take all the industries from earth to safeguard our earth and then take it to space, right? And you might have seen Nvidia coming up with their new advanced graphic cards. They're coming up with different robots. And so there are so many activities happening in space. What is a medium which will connect a human from Earth to space? Right? So we are seeing this virtual reality headsets. Right? So this is a medium where you can actually stand over here on Earth and then connect with space robots and then work on different activities. So as you see, who might have thought, right? So around like 2 centuries ago, that we'll be using a robot to reach from one place to another. Earlier, it was horse carts and bullock carts and different caravans. But now we are sitting in a car and then we are reaching to different places. Right? It's the same thing. We'll see this very soon. Right? So we are seeing that the future of work will be in collaboration with robots. As you're seeing, it is coming in. Right? It's not a thing to worry. I always say that technology evolution is imminent. It comes, but it is the thing like for humans, we have to accept these technologies, adopt this, and then use it in our day-to-day lives. Right? So if you see these robots are coming in, we can connect with robots, and we are seeing that we can use a virtual reality headsets to actually work on the different activities. Right? So this is these are my presentation. I'll yeah pass on to Rakesh to go ahead and do the presentation.
As you move ahead with the slide, I'll start speaking. Yeah. So we heard a lot of interesting insights about how XR or MR is basically impacting the industry 4.2. So when you talk about industry 4.2, in a large sense, it includes big data, it includes cloud computing, it includes industrial AI, it includes Internet of Things, all of them. And with the addition of XR, it is gonna impact the business from a perspective of multiple areas. Okay. The number one area is obviously is training, because even in the PwC Metaverse survey, we saw the number one use case is onboarding and training. And that actually enables us to basically ensure multiple use cases which we can work on. Like example, if I'm trying to onboard some of our employees on understanding a particular sensor, I'm a sensor manufacturer, right? How would I train my service engineers or my sales engineers who are basically trying to understand how to deploy this product in the market? So like this would be a fantastic solution for those kind of business scenarios where the industrial automation companies are selling not just one or two devices which are simple to use. These are complex equipments. And that's where the role of XR plays in enhancing the capability of these engineers on the field. So it is a very important tool from a perspective of workforce training. Another aspect is the remote collaboration, where they can use it. These service engineers can actually use it for a remote assistance, where you have an expert who is understanding and troubleshooting you, helping you troubleshoot better. In that kind of a scenario, it is much easier to do it with an MR, mixed reality kind of a concept, where you can actually use annotations, or you can use specific, technical documentation, which is required for troubleshooting a particular equipment on the field. So it is serviceability, it is enhancing your serviceability for the organization. So the same amount of issues which comes in with respect to even operations of the business. So if you have a particular plant which is going to be shut down because of particular equipment failure, that kind of a scenario is completely avoidable today. You don't have to wait for the service engineer to come to the location. Might be it will take 2 days or 1 week for him to basically come down, depending on the availability. This today is possible because of VR, through which you are able to go into that digital space and understand the various aspects of basically troubleshooting the same and ensuring that the operations doesn't stop. So it is enablement, human capability of enablement or workforce training. Second is collaboration. Third is serviceability. These are the three big areas where we see the role of XR going to be very, very important for the industry 4.0. And now I would not talk about specifically the use case specific, but we can talk about the two big use cases where we have actually deployed to the customer. So this is one of the world's largest integrated automotive player, has operations in South Asia and Southeast Asia, and they have big operations in Asia, Europe, as well as North America. We have provided them hands-on firefighting solution for different types of accidents within the manufacturing plant. The focus is for this particular use cases, the safety first culture within these manufacturing organizations, because they produce almost like 25,000 cars per minute. So that means they're going to have that much loss because of a fire incident. So if it is around 2,500 cars are manufactured every single day, that is one car per minute. And if a fire incident occurs, each minute they lose a car. That means an average loss of almost in Indian rupee, it would be around 10 lakh. The same thing would be around close to 200K for basically what will be the operation loss for a small fire incident breakout. So the impact for such kind of a business is very, very high. And it's very relevant for those industries to have that done. We have totally trained 1,000 plus workers in a particular location. They have multiple locations across the globe, and we are going to train them more in various. So that is in pipeline. The next one is with a leading oil and gas, world's one of the leading oil and gas and natural gas player, where we not only did firefighting, we did confined spaces training, lifting heavy weights, working at heights, all those scenarios, which is very, very complex within a industrial plant, specifically for a oil and gas complex, where we have trained more than 500 plus customers, 500 plus workers who are actually on the field responsible for operations of this plant. So what has been our experience? Our experience has been trying to see that how we can enable the right methods to these kind of scenarios where they are able to service the business, they are able to run the operations, and at the same time collaborate. So these are the top three things which we could see when we are talking about this kind of a thing. Maaz, if you can go to the next one. So how is it spatial computing significant? With real-time data visualization, now all these equipments can actually provide you deeper understanding, and also you can do a lot of work with respect to understanding of the segments. With this also you are improving the precision and accuracy of your engineers on the field. So basically you're trying to do is overlaying this digital data on these physical objects and giving them depth of those solutions. Once they are able to do that, that means the production quality also goes up with this data. So all this data which comes from the IoT sensors and equipments, basically you can actually help basically automate. And this means the operational equipment efficiency of these plants are, and also machines are much more better. Maaz, if you can go to the next one. But still, we see there are challenges. One, because there is a standard problem, which is like the standardization and the interoperability, because it is IoT sensors which needs to talk to each other, right? Because we need to have an integrated framework to show all the data points in a single dashboard, and a kind of a way where you can actually see all of the data points on the floor while you're walking. Second thing is data security and concerns, specifically because there's some of the sensors which needs to basically have multiple layers of encryption. That means also privacy, which needs to be taken care while we are actually deploying these kind of applications. And at the same time, the complexity is higher because there are multiple different equipments which needs that kind of different types of protocols which needs to be enabled and also to be used. So these are some of the basic challenges which we see on the top level. There are many more, but these are the top 4 which we could see. Yes, we go to the next. So that is why industrial metaverse will help. What we see from a perspective of driving the customers, it is improving their safety and risk management within their plant. It is helping them optimize their operational efficiency. At the same time, enhancing their engagement and upskilling their employees. And finally, driving the enhanced collaboration and communication. That is what makes industrial metaverse very key from a perspective of deployment. Maaz, yeah, go next. And if you see from a perspective, when you say the integration happening, it also enables us from a perspective of like how we can ensure the right kind of business segments are impacted. We see this not only in oil and gas or automotive, we also seen this in mining, where we have spoken to gold mine companies, where we have spoken to companies who are into various operations into even telecom operations. So multiple areas where we have worked on all these areas. Maaz, if you go to the next one. So from this, I would like to come to a point that we are seeing this from a perspective, and we see that the industry leaders itself, they have given their viewpoints, and the viewpoint is pretty clear. Like Satya Nadella speaks specifically that industrial metaverse will be very, very big game changer for the manufacturing industry, which will help them optimize the operations. It will improve their worker safety and also deliver productivity for their customers. And with one of the World Economic Report, Klaus Schwab actually has clearly said that it will be the foundational layer. The industrial metaverse will be the foundational layer for the next generation of industrial automation, enabling the real-time data-driven decisions and also providing seamless collaboration. And with this, I would like to say that one thing which connects all this data points is having a better visualization. If you are having the better visualization, you are able to make better decisions. And if you're able to do better decisions, that means you are trying to bring more value to the business. So with this, I would like to end the presentation and open to the floor to have questions.
Thank you very much, Rakesh and Maaz. So to our audiences, if you have any questions, then you can ask in the chat or comment and talk with us. We would be more than happy. In the meantime, I have a couple of questions. Okay, so one question is about the headset and the spatial computing. When Apple Vision Pro came, then everyone talked about the spatial computing, although spatial computing was there before that, right? So can you please, Maaz or Rakesh, explain about the headsets, the relationship with the headsets and the spatial computing? Do we need to use Apple Vision Pro only, or any headset with the mixed reality capability, can we use it for spatial computing?
Yeah, so Maaz, you want to take it or?
Okay, I'll start with that. So Ahmed, so there are different hardware providers in the market, right? So as you said, right, spatial computing is already there. That's right. So you might have seen Facebook buying Oculus, right? They've spent huge amount of money to bring this device to everyone. Right? So even Microsoft started with HoloLens devices. So there are multiple different devices for different industries, and it is as per their different standards. Right? So usually what we suggest is like we connect with different persons who visionaries who wants to automate using this technology. Depending upon their business flow, we suggest with different devices. You might have seen Apple Vision Pro, right? So Apple Vision Pro is actually, I would say, like they brought this device out of uh, all the transformations which is happening in the industry, right? So now it has got good attention, right? Because even it looks like Apple has also been giving attention to this, but actually they have started working on it long back, very long back. Right? So these ways, right? So depending upon different criterias, we can suggest on different headsets. So it doesn't mean like you just need to use Apple Vision Pro or just the Meta device. There is HTC, and they have come up with their device. And then there are Magic Leap. So there are lots of big players in this. Rakesh, do you
So,
want to add on top of it?
yeah, I would like to add something to this. It also depends on the customer's environment also, Ahmed, because if you really look at Apple Vision Pro, though it is a developer kit, uh, it is for industries which are very harsh environments, right? You need a rugged kind of a design usually. And I think we have seen Meta do really well in these kind of scenarios. Apple Vision Pro, when we really look at the design fundamentals, it's very consumer-driven kind of a product, less of an industrial-driven product. So you have other specific, solutions like Darkry and others who are basically, which is also an interesting one where you get to see interesting applications which we can build on. Because those kind of sensors, those kind of devices are something which is very specific to the industry. Apple Vision Pro, I think it's not yet ready, I would say, for industrial environment like an oil and gas scenario or something like that, which is you would need a much more rugged device which can be used. It is fantastic from a perspective of development perspective for a consumer, as well as even for a retail scenario, as well as probably for banking, but not for industrial metaverse. That's what I feel from my perspective.
So
Also the cost is also is higher. So that's what I would say.
yeah, so the cost is for the Apple Vision Pro is it's very expensive right now. And then what I can see is this is basically what I have a question for you is whether this argument is correct or not. Is Meta is right now a little bit, we can regard it as a little bit winner of this area, as they provide, for example, with Meta Quest 3 especially, when the price is $600, right, bucks, and then it's almost affordable, and it has a mixed reality, right? And I don't know about the spatial computing much, but I think we can develop this mixed reality and spatial computing with Meta Quest 3. Is that right?
I can go with that, Ahmed. So to clarify that, right? So now, right, I'll start with the confusion in the market, or maybe different terminologies in the market, right? So now we are seeing Apple is using spatial computing in their marketing, right? And we are also seeing Meta is using mixed reality, extended realities, right? So if you see, right, so the technology behind this is simple, right? It's a computer on your face,
Yeah.
right? So it's all those different devices. It's like a phone and iPhone, right? It's the same different terminologies. But if you see the fundamental use cases behind this, right? You can use it for complete virtual reality, where you take the people to a different digital atmosphere. So it's like we are teleported to a different place. That is one thing. The second thing is mixed reality, which in our presentation we showed about diagnostics and remote assistant. So what is happening is, like, you can actually overlay information on top of different machineries or equipments. Right? So this is where mixed reality comes into place. Right? So you might have heard about augmented reality earlier, right? Even that is like a similar name as mixed reality, right? It's just that earlier it was augmented reality because it is augmenting on top of physical space, right? We were using phones earlier, right? Now these devices are actually helping us to connect with the physical and digital worlds. So these are different terminologies in the market, but I wish that this comes as AI. Like, now everybody uses AI. It's a common term. We can understand what AI is. Right? It's a large language model. Earlier, it was machine learning, deep learning. They were different names, but all together we call it as AI. So similarly, I'm sure like there'll be a generic name which will come, and then we'll be able to relate to that. Yeah.
Okay, I see. Thanks for that, because you are also we didn't explain the mixed reality, VR, and augmented reality. It was a good explanation. And one more question, maybe, is what do you see the future of spatial computing and I mean VR, or like whatever the terminology is, right, in schools and governmental sectors, means those sectors that already kind of controlled by the government, like schools, like universities, these are educational, and I'm not sure oil industry is a private sector. Maybe you can explain a little bit about it, and then what do you see the future of VR in schools, educational and the governmental in overall?
Yeah, so I will take that up first, Amar. I think in the government, I would say public services is the number one. So when you talk about emergency services, right, disaster relief is a big space itself. And there is a lot of research and lot of traction, especially in this use case, which we are seeing. We are speaking to a similar organization like the Red Cross, very early stage, and they are looking at trying to build these kind of modules, like I would say not just for emergency planning, but also for scenarios to train their own volunteers, to train their employees and the volunteers who are going to enable these emergency services. Like example, if I have to set up a food truck in a scenario where there is a lot of forest fire, which happens in North America, right? So how do I set up? How do I train the volunteers to go there and do their action, right? So even those kind of scenarios, not just firefighting itself, but also those skills required for enabling those emergency services for disaster specific scenarios, right? It is very big space, which I could see pretty much. The number two, I would say, is education, because education has immense potential. Yes, the scalability is something which comes from a perspective of how many schools or how many students, how much experience. Because in school, there are two modules in which you can implement this. One is within the classroom, other is in their labs. Both can have a different experience. When you're doing in the classroom, it can be a multiplayer mode where they can actually learn and do also collaborate with their students as well as with the teacher as well. When it comes to the lab, it could be simple as VR, where they can actually experience a particular experiment much more efficiently. Like there are very expensive, like example, if you are a science student, right? And if you want to do something very specific for spectroscopy and want to understand the spectroscopy much better, it's not so easy for everyone to find that experience much easier to do it. You might get less amount of time in the lab. But imagine if you can carry that device back home and experiment it when you have the free time to do it. It's a totally different experience. So I see government, there are two big spaces. One is disaster relief. Second is education. And I think both are game changing because both have an impact on the lives of people. One from a perspective of survival, one from a perspective of the future of learning, that from that perspective.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes. So emergency and then education. Okay, thanks for that. So one topic that is totally different from this conversation is I am seeing that as you are mentioning, you and Maaz, this area, virtual reality and then application of virtual reality in education is basically opening the market, right? So in the market, previously we didn't have this opportunity, but there are companies that like you coming and then providing services about creating applications, about the serious games, which means that this type of application training the people for the matter of a purpose. It can be emergency, it can be educating topic, right? So one question is about the people. We may have some audiences that they are thinking about, or in future, some people can come to the YouTube because we put this in our YouTube channel. So the question is, if someone wants to, for example, become a developer about the VR or XR, then what do you see, like from, because you are a company, you are hiring people, right? What do you see in terms of the developers? Do you see, for example, there are many guys in this area that they are looking for a job, or they don't, I mean, there are rare people, few people, they don't have experiences. Can you share some of the challenges that you are facing in terms of hiring people?
Yeah. Maaz, do you want to take that? I'll follow up with it.
Okay. So Ahmed, so the question is about future scope for students, right? So I would say, right, so there is a huge transformation, right? Earlier it was web development, mobile app developments, right? So this is a new space which is coming in where people can start building different applications in this device, right? As you see right now, recently we spoke to a neuroscientist from Harvard. So he was telling us that still the user experience needs to be improved. The reason is like, so a technology comes in and then later on all the rules and regulation comes in. Now the technology is here, right? Now we are seeing developers are here, right? The main thing what we are seeing is like the advancements of it, right? As people keep coming in, we can see that there are so many problems which is occurring, and those can be fixed. So I'll go back to the same neuroscientist, what he said, right? So he was telling that when we are using this VR device, right, there is a challenge. Our retina thinks that if they are looking at a further distance objects, our retina thinks that it is far, so it strains.
Yeah.
Right? So in that way, we are not able to figure out whether are we convincing our brain properly or not. Right? The reason I brought this example is now the opportunity is there. So people are entering into this space, right? So there are different examples which is being raised, right? As you see, even in the video game market, so there were lots of kids, right? Because gaming industry was booming, there were lots of developers who are into this gaming side. But as you see a shift where the gaming technology is actually coming into mainstream technologies, right? So we are seeing a huge flux of people moving towards this side too, right? So we have a good, I would say, developers and modelers who are in this area, who have already trained on this side, right? So there is immense potential opportunities for them too. Recently, we were talking to a CEO of Ontario interactive gaming person, right? She was mentioning the same thing, right? So there are huge number of people who have developed games. How can you reuse them for your industry and enterprise related use cases? Right? So they have invited us to go to their location and then do a hiring, right? So the potential opportunities is increasing actually, right? As you see the technology is coming in, people are adopting it, and also the opportunities is increasing. So when anybody who's coming into this space, for example in the technology and civil space, into technology and disaster management, as you and Professor Ali is there, right? So using these knowledge, you can actually, there is lots of opportunities to automate using this thing, right? So we will see a growth, right?
Yeah.
So the wave actually usually it is low, right? When a wave comes in, like the same thing which I'll again use AI's example, right? So last year, right, it was AI wave, right? Everybody wanted to be an AI developer, AI expert, but they were not considering that they had knowledge of AI, right? But
Yeah.
after AI came in, oh, I'm a big data scientist. Oh, I'm a machine learning specialist. Yes, I'm connected with AI world. So now they are moving into this world, right? So likewise, the opportunities are huge, right? It is good. I'll
So I
move
would
on.
like
Yeah,
to
go ahead, Rakesh. Yeah.
So this question is very close to my heart, Ahmed, because I started my career as a mobile game programmer way back in 2007. I was part of Disney India, specifically gaming. And those days, this kind of applications, which is very specific to the enterprise, was called serious gaming. So serious gaming is anything to do with enterprise. And the skill sets which the game development team has is much superior because the engines which they work on are much more complex. The rendering required for such gaming experiences are much more deeper because you have to have a seamless experience while you're playing the game. And the experience which a gamer requires is, I can tell you, 10 times higher than a enterprise customer. The enterprise customer is doing it from a perspective of not fun. They're doing it from a perspective of simulating the environment, right? Now, with the skill sets which the gaming the game development team has, because in gaming we used to have, this is way back in 2007, 8, I'm telling you, we had the 3D modelers even during those days. We had the game designers those days. We had the game production team, which will work and understand the device ecosystem from. So this is, I'm talking about mobile games. The same thing goes to any other, like if you want to do for console, it is similarly only the device configuration changes, the operating system changes, and the coding language changes. So during those days, I used to do J2ME, C#, and mostly Unity at that point of time. Now we see Unreal as well. We see other applications. So Unity also came in much later, like 2007, 8, no, I would say. So today we can use the same skill sets. I think it's applicable even today the same way. You can use the same skill sets to basically build such immersive applications and upskill them to develop these kind of scenarios. The only difference in only difference from that to this is the business case has to be something from an understanding of the business users understand. In a game design, it is more from the entertainment score and how we are keeping the customer engaged, and the stickiness is very important in the game. It is not about stickiness here. It is more about the benefit from a safety perspective. Is it benefit from a serviceability perspective? If I'm doing a particular SOP for servicing a particular equipment, how am I doing it? Is it the right way am I doing it? So with Meynikara, we have also developed an analytical layer on top of this solution, where if you do even a mistake of, like, if I'm choosing the wrong extinguisher, it will tell me which one to pick, which one I picked. And based on that, it will tell me that I did the basic SOPs, which is required for fire safety. For same thing for working at heights, same thing for any other, depending on what the SOP is defined. And it will create a scoring. And what we have done is that when we go for these kind of trainings, what we do is we create teams. And we do a kind of like a gaming challenge. The team one, team A, B, C. So all the teams have to aggregate and then create. So in that way, what happens is that people who don't want to do the training now want to do the training and making their team to win. In one way, it is also enabling the finishing the training experience in virtual, but also finding them the right ways to basically ensure their compliance is done in space. So coming back to the developer question, I think one of the key aspects there is what are the skills which you can reuse. So the reuse part, there are a lot of things. The framework, the design, the 3D modeling, other skill sets which you can use it, repurpose it again. And there are enough people who are good enough to understand that, because gaming is much more ahead in with respect to the development perspective, even the experience. Yeah. Sorry for taking such a long time, because it's something close to my own experience.
No, thank you very much. I understood. So to summarize, the answer to this question is basically because developing a game is similar to developing a virtual reality application, right? So since there are many game developers there, then you can use them for your purposes, which is the VR developing. But still, they need to understand how this VR, which is not for fun, it's for a purpose, right? How to develop it and how to look at it in a way that they need to provide the training in a, for example, its type of course space or maybe a storyline in the VR is very important.
I can give you one example there, Ahmed.
Yeah.
So when I was into gaming, but I also did some part for the earlier days of the mobile banking,
Mhm,
early
mhm.
2009, 10. Uh, the framework is same, okay, with respect to deployment, but the architecture is totally different because when you do in a banking, you have to look at from a privacy, data security, and other banking regulations, which needs to be done when we are developing the mobile app. The mobile app for a gaming will have a different architecture. The mobile app for a bank will have a different architecture. So it's the same when you take the same thing to even XR, the same thing.
Yes. Okay. Thanks. We have one question from participant is, thank you for the presentation. How can students get involved in this growing industry? Good
Okay,
question.
let me take this. So
Okay.
one thing is like there are XR company, extended realities company. There are virtual reality companies, spatial computing companies, right? So there are different companies. They have opened that recently because it's a new technology, and there are huge opportunities to do internships there. So if, for example, if students are interested, they can actually connect with the hiring person over there. They can actually go do internships. So there is one way for that. And the second thing is like I think even at universities, right? At York University too, you have some like we are open houses, right? So I have seen that like there were lots of students involved in it. I leave that to you, Ahmed, to answer it. Right? So likewise, so there are opportunities for students to enter into this area where they can understand about different businesses, because the main goal for enterprises or this industry side is you have to learn about the business and then automate the business. Right? To learn about business, yes, there are students those who have technical knowledge. Right? So with that technical knowledge, they can enter into that when they are connecting with the business experts. Right? So they can have a vision, they can give them a vision, and they can actually understand those businesses and develop accordingly. So students can enter through internships or through connecting with companies, right? And yeah, looking for opportunities there.
I
Go
would
ahead,
like to add,
Rakesh. Yeah.
Maaz, so I would say hackathons have a very huge role. So please go to hackathons, most of the organizations, because it gives you an opportunity to basically experiment and learn. Even though you may not be able to participate, go there, see the experience. And if you have an experience, if you understand what is the business scenario, they have to do the application or the development of the solution in a very short span, just like a startup lean model. So if you have the right skill set, if you have the right team, you can win those hackathons and also gives you an experience. If you do not have it, still go in, I would say, for two reasons. One is to understand the business case. Second thing is to also understand what are the skill sets I need to build to become that kind of a person, right? So, as I would always ask you to find Google search any innovation hackathons or any kind of programs which is running for either Unity, because Unity runs, I think, hackathons, or what I know. Then universities run hackathons. Even large organizations also run hackathons for very important business cases. So go to those hackathons and experiment. That's what I would say. Because I always believe the best learning only happens when you explore, not when you are actually learning via an what do you say, a Coursera course. That is not the way. Only by exploring.
Okay, thank you very much, Maaz and Rakesh, and thank you very much, everyone. I think it's almost one. So with that aside, I would like to thanks to everyone, Maaz and Rakesh and our audiences for participating, asking questions, and this interesting engagement. I learned a lot personally. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you so
Francesco?
much for giving us the opportunity, Ahmed and Francisco. It was a pleasure talking to you and the entire crowd. Take care.
Thanks.
First, thank you. Yeah, I just want to extend my thanks as well. Thank you so much, Maaz and Rakesh. That was a great presentation. Great to have you back presenting again in this series, Maaz. And great to have you for the first time, Rakesh. Thank you, Ahmad, for moderating and putting together the session. And thank you, of course, to everyone in the audience taking the time to be here. Just very quickly to promote the next session, I just want to share my screen here. This is a monthly series, as most already know. So the next session is on Friday, June 28th, from same time, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. We'll have speakers from Niagara College and Brock University speaking on learning to foster authentic inclusion and accessibility through virtual reality. And so the speakers are Jamie Orezar, Jim McEwen, and Dr. Maureen Connolly. So if that's of interest to anyone in the audience, please mark that on your calendars, share it in your networks, and we will see you next month. Thank you so much.
I've